Hello, tarot folks. How is everyone today? Today I'm here to do a video response to Dani at Dani Mystic. And Dani started a tag called My Classics. And in this tag, what Dani has asked us to do or respond to is to talk about our classic tarot decks. And what she said was, she doesn't mean like, your vintage Aquarian or your vintage Thoth or something like that. She means decks that are sort of classic to you, decks that are your go-to decks, decks that you often use, decks that maybe other folks associate with you, and like that. So anyway, I'm going to start this off. I was thinking of doing tarot and oracle, but I decided it would just end up being too long. So I'm just going with tarot only. So I'm going to start off with 3 honorable mention decks. And these are decks that I talk about on my channel all the time. And so I just thought I'm not going to focus on them for this video because I feel like I'm always focusing on them. And I just wanted to kind of change it up a little bit. So those 3 decks, and for those of you who watch my channel will know what they are. First off, I'll start with the one I've had the longest, and that is this one. It's Daughters of the Moon. And I did feel like I absolutely had to include a feminist deck because that is who I am. The other one is this, is the Gaian Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert. I have a limited edition of that deck that's sort of a larger size, and I love it. And then the third honorable mention is Tarot de Saint Croix by Lisa de Saint Croix. And everybody knows how much I love these 3 decks. I talk about them all the time. And I would say they are classic decks and decks that I fall back on always. And I think I always will. I can't imagine that I'd ever stop using or liking those decks. So now I have a couple other groups of decks. So I decided to go with old classics and new classics, and maybe even some medium classics. So my old classics are, first of all, this one, the Herbal Tarot. And this is by Michael Tierra. And the artwork is by Candace Canton. And this is a deck that I have had since, I want to say, the late 1980s. I bought it actually at an herb conference. So I was at this herb conference in Auburn, Massachusetts. There were a lot of, well, obviously herbalists there. And Michael Tierra is an herbalist who practices traditional Chinese medicine. And he had a table, which many herbalists had tables, like vending tables at the conference. And I was walking along and I spotted this deck on his table. And I almost lost it because I thought, tarot and herbs combined? What could be better than that? Because as most of you may know, I am an herbalist. So, and I love tarot. So my 2 passions in one thing, I was so excited. So I thought I'd show you. It's very Rider-Waite-Smith based. So here we have Strength. The plant is Cayenne. High Priest. The plant or herb is Sage. Queen of Cups. The plant is Lady's Mantle. And this makes sense to me because when you get up in the morning, before the sun has burned off the dew, Lady's Mantle, the leaves are like little cups and little holders that hold the dew. And it's said to be magical. So I can kind of see how those herbs are associated with those cards. But, oh, and golden seal has a bitter taste, so I guess I can see that. Dong Guai is a woman's herb, so I can see why it's the Empress. But then there's cards I don't get the association. We have the Two of Swords and Passion Flower, the Magician and Astragalus, Cannabis, and the Ten of Cups. I'm like, do we just sit around and smoke a joint and have fun with our family and friends? I don't know. Lemon Balm in the Moon. I really don't get this one. Queen of Swords and Lady Slipper. And then King of Swords and St. John's Wort. This one I do get. Nine of Swords and Valerian. So Valerian helps you sleep. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about this one. So this is the Sun card in Angelica. So as I said, I got this deck in, I want to say 1988 or 89. And my daughter was born in 1990. And I read in a book by Diane Stein about a ritual you could do for your daughter. So I had my dearest friend Pauline was my daughter Naomi's goddess mother, and we did this ritual on summer solstice. And so what Diane Stein said to do was you pick a name, like for a middle name for your daughter, and you do this ritual with the goddess mother and the baby. And then when your daughter has her first period, you do another ritual and you reveal the name to her, the middle name to her. So I did that with my friend and my daughter Naomi, who was 7 months old at the time. And one of the names I was considering for my daughter's middle name was Angelica. It's a beautiful herb. And so I wasn't sure. I had a couple other ideas too. So I was setting up for the ritual, and I thought, oh, I'm going to pull the Sun card from the Herbal Tarot deck to put on the altar. And you see that? The herb on the Sun card is Angelica. So that affirmed for me my daughter's middle name would be Angelica. I thought that was pretty magical at the time when that happened. So that we did go ahead, and when my daughter had her first period, we never told her about this ritual until she got her first period. And then we did the ritual where we revealed her middle name. So it's kind of cool, and I think it's a great ritual if anyone is interested. I'm happy to tell you more details about it. Another classic deck is Radiant, Rider-Waite-Smith. So my first tarot deck was the Mother Peace deck, and I didn't really get another tarot deck for many years. In fact, it was the Herbal Tarot was my second tarot deck. And I didn't really use that for readings. I used it more for the herbal purpose, to pull a card and to read about the herb. So after many years of kind of dabbling with tarot, I decided, you know what? I got to learn this. I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna learn how to read tarot. I'm not gonna dabble anymore. So I spent a year pulling 1 to 3 cards a day using Joan Bunning's book, Learn Tarot, and this Radiant Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I'm sure everyone is familiar with these images. I liked the coloring in this deck better than the regular Rider-Waite-Smith. And I was really surprised. I was going to say shocked, but maybe surprised is a better word. When I started reading with this deck, I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. I get what these cards are saying. You know, of course, there's more to tarot than just that, but these cards just spoke to me so clearly, way more clearly than the Mother Peace images did. And I would look at these cards and I would say to myself, I get it. I get what these cards are meaning. And so that was the deck that taught me tarot. And so that's why I feel like it's a classic deck for me. I don't use this deck very much anymore, but I really used it a lot for a couple of years. And as I said, that's how I learned to read the cards. Next up is the Sassafras Burrito Tarot by Stacia Barrington. And I'm allowing this to be, I got this deck in 2017. So I figure, all right, that's 5 years. I think anything I guess it can be a classic, right? So I really love this. And I use this deck a lot to read for clients. And people just respond so positively to the images. Many people that I read for have never had a reading before. Some have, but only with Rider-Waite-Smith. So they're not familiar with this imagery. And I adore this deck. When I first started seeing it online, I didn't get it. And then all of a sudden, I just decided, I actually got it in a trade. And I love this deck. Here's the Queen of Cups. So we have, it's so much, I mean, it's way more inclusive than our standard tarot, like Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. It's older folks, different body types, you know, different skin tones. So it is a little bit more diverse. And I love how the Rider-Waite-Smith has been translated by Stacia into this Sassafras Burrito. Here's our devil. Devilish, isn't he? I love this death card. It just touches me. Even to this day, as many times as I've read with this. Here's this character, the Knight of Wands. And I love this Ace of Cups. So I find this to be a really, really readable deck. And it's one that I use more for clients than for myself, although I do read for myself with it too. But as I said, folks that I use it for seem to really be attracted to it and really like that deck a lot. So those were the older classics. These are the middle classics, and these two decks, New Era Elements and Next World Tarot. I also have the larger size of this. I wanted to mention these decks because just like I had to include a feminist deck, I need to include these two decks because they speak to activism, social activism, social justice work. And that is something that is really important to me. And it's something that I have, you know, I try to be involved in and have been since I was, you know, an 18. So there are some cards in here that folks object to, and I'm not going to show those cards. People feel like they're animal cruelty. I think they're misunderstanding the cards. They're not, this is not in favor of animal cruelty. The deck is trying to point out how horrible it is. But I get that some people just don't want to look at that imagery. So I love, this is a bit Thoth-based. So we have the Magus. And it's sort of like the trickster aspect, the kind of more Tarot de Marseille interpretation of the magician. He's got, so he's, you know, he's just the big capitalist. He's trying to sell you a bill of goods. This devil card, I think, is striking. The Tower card. I really like this Wheel of Fortune a lot. So you can see we have the Thoth keywords. Here's deception. This is the Three of Air, grief. But you can see the heart with the swords he has as a tattoo. Three of Earth. You have our bees working away as a team. Sun. Six of Fire, or Six of Wands. So it's that victory card. And I just, you know, I really, really love the illustrations. This is Ellie Piper, who did the guidebook and the artwork, and I think it's gorgeous. And I love this Fool. So, yeah, you're really about to go on a big adventure, my friend, right? Strength, and I'll stop here with the Hierophant, which is one of my favorite Hierophants. Kind of gives you a different take on the Hierophant when you see the Dalai Lama than when you see an old-time Pope. So that's the New Era Elements. And then the Next World Tarot is by Christy C. Rode. And she is, Christy is a social activist, a social justice person. She's a singer, she has a band, and she's also an artist and a tarot reader. And these decks I like because they're also more inclusive. So here's our High Priestess, Two of Cups, Three of Cups. And this is interesting. This deck came out, I think, in 2017, maybe 18. And this is the Judgment card. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but that banner says, I can't breathe. So it came out before George Floyd was murdered by the police. And this actually is pertaining to capitalism and oil companies and big money-making companies polluting the air. That kind of I can't breathe. But, you know, you can't help but think of George Floyd and you know, the situation with police in the United States when you see that card. Instead of the Tower, we have Revolution. Again, kind of a dig at capitalism. Same with Justice, beautiful Justice card. Seven of Wands. She's doing some spell work. Instead of the Hierophant, we have the Messenger. This is the Devil. Again, a dig at capitalism. Here's the World card. And I think this might be my all-time favorite Lovers card. It's deep. It's really good. Moon. Strength. Magician. So I love this deck, and I read more for myself with this deck than I do clients. Although I think for certain clients, I would use this deck. I love it, and I'm so thankful that Christy created this deck. It really packs a punch, and it makes a statement. So those are my middle time period classics, and then my new classics. So classics that have just come to me within the past year or two, and that is the Gentle Tarot and the Superlunaris. I never know how to say it. So I'm going to start with the Gentle Tarot. I did back this on Kickstarter. I just loved the artwork. It's by Mari Aparicio Tovar, or Mari in the Sky. It's a gorgeous deck. And although I would say that it's gentle, it's not too gentle. You know what I mean? When you need it, it tells you what you need to know. So I thought I would start off with a court card from each of the suits, because Mari has renamed the courts, and 2 of the suits. So this is the Seed of Stones, or the Page of Pentacles. This is the Root of Thunder, or the Knight of Swords. And then we have the Flower of Wands, which is the Queen of Wands, and the Harvest of Cups, which is the King of Cups. So you can see, you're getting a sense of the artwork there. And I just pulled out a few cards. The Magician, I think, is really a powerful rendition of that card. Seed of Cups, so Page of Cups, 3 of Cups. And you can see that this is Rider-Waite-Smith-ish. Strength. I love this card. If you've ever, I live around, I live on Cape Cod in the east coast of the United States, and I have gone on a few whale watches. And if you've ever seen a whale breach, you know the strength that takes. So it takes physical strength, but also I think whales have emotional strength and spiritual strength. What are you going to choose? This is the 2 of Pentacles, or the 2 of Stones. And I just adore this Ace of Cups. So that is the Gentle Tarot. And then to end with the Super Lunaris. Really need to know how to say this, because I hate saying it the wrong way. The card stock on this deck is so amazing. It's so lovely to shuffle. I really, really love this deck. And it is a Rider-Waite-Smith base. You can see this 9 of Wands is very much like the Rider-Waite-Smith. 3 of Cups. And again, we see a deck that is inclusive. 10 of Wands, of all different folks from all different walks of life, different ages, different cultures. I'm holding this up for a long time, the 6 of Swords, because the 6 of Swords is one of my favorite cards. I just love it in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition. This card is so stunningly beautiful. And I think it's interesting because usually in the 6 of Swords, the boat is going away from us. But in this one, it's facing us. The person and the boat are facing us, coming towards us. So I find that an interesting twist. 3 of Pentacles. So you can see Queen of Wands, the Fool. How this is 4 of Cups, very much Rider-Waite-Smith. Here we have an Elder on the 9 of Pentacles. And this may be one of my all-time favorite High Priestess cards. You know, for the pillars, we have the trees, we have the moon, and we have this priestess. And I love having an older woman. 4 of Wands, 9 of Cups, Chariot. I think this is such an interesting 2 of Cups, looking in the mirror. So loving yourself. Queen of Pence, beautiful Queen of Cups, Hermit, and I will end with this Two of Pentacles. So I think it's a gorgeous deck because it is, it has this beautiful copper rose gold gilding, and it comes in a beautiful magnet box. So these are decks, those are the two new ones that I'm returning to frequently. And then, as I mentioned, I have the kind of social justice ones that I really enjoy having in my collection and that speak to me very much on that level. And then the older decks and my 3 honorable mentions that I don't think I will ever stop loving. So thank you, Dani, for starting this tag. It was really fun to kind of think about what decks did I want to talk about, what decks do I feel are my classic decks, and I really enjoyed doing this video. Please feel free to comment below on what your decks are or what you think of my choices, or, you know, what, as I said, what you would pick for your classic decks. In the meantime, peace and be well.